Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's our topic is not only current, but burning. It's a very, very hot topic, and the topic is and very relevant. But before I will go on the main topic, I would like to inform you today the world is observing International Day of Education. International Day of Education is an annual international observance day held on January 24th and is dedicated to education. On December 3rd, 2018, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution proclaiming January 24th as International Day of Education in celebration of the role of education for bringing global peace and sustainable development. Media conference with Lal Goel wishes that every child should be educated, whether boy or girl. India is celebrating today the National Girl Child Day. National Girl Child Day in India is celebrated on January 24th every year. The day was an initiative of the Ministry of Women and Child Development in 2008. The objective behind celebrating the National Girl Child is to provide support and opportunities to the girls of India. It also aims towards promoting awareness about the rights of the girl child and to increase awareness on the importance of girl education and their health and nutrition. Media conference with Lal Goel wishes everyone a very happy Girl Child Day. And on this very, very important day, that is the Girl Child Day, we are taking a topic that is marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Rape is a type of sexual assault usually involving sexual intercourse or other forms of sexual penetration carried out against a person without that person's consent. The act may be carried out by physical force, coercion, abuse of authority, or against a person who is incapable of giving valid consent, such as one who is unconscious, incapacitated, has an intellectual disability, or is below the legal age of consent. The term rape is sometimes used interchangeable with the term sexual assault. Marital rape or spousal rape is the act of sexual intercourse with one's spouse without the spouse's consent. The lack of consent is the essential element and need not involve physical violence. Marital rape is considered a form of domestic violence and sexual abuse. Although historically sexual intercourse within marriage was regarded as a right of spouses, engaging in the act without the spouse's consent is now widely classified as rape by many societies around the world, repudiately by international conventions and increasingly criminalized. According to Hindu scriptures, no religious rites can be performed with perfection by a man without the participation of his wife. Wife's participation is essential in any religious rite. Wives are thus called Ardhangni. They are supposed to be given not only important but equal positions with men. Being a part of the wedlock does not permit the man to forcefully have sex with his wife. The right to have sexual intercourse must be consensual and not an obligation of his wife. The wife should have the liberty to refuse to have sex with and cannot be compelled by her husband to do so. Even today, the law system in India does not recognize marital rape as a crime. On 6th August 2021, the Kerala High Court upholds marital rape as a good ground to claim divorce. The issues of sexual and domestic violence within marriage and the family unit, and more specifically the issue of violence against women, have come to growing international attention from the second half of the 20th century. Still, in many countries, marital rape either remains outside the criminal law or is illegal but widely tolerated. Laws are rarely being enforced due to factors ranging from reluctance of authorities to pursue the crime to lack of public knowledge that sexual intercourse in marriage without consent is illegal, Domestic violence in India is an established problem and it has increased in recent years. According to National Crime Record Bureau's NCRB, Crime in India's 2019 report, about 70% of women in India are victims of domestic violence. One such manifestation of this domestic violence is marital rape. Marital rape, the act of forcing your spouse into having sex without proper consent, is an unjust yet not uncommon way to degrade and disempower women. Today, marital rape has been impeached in more than 100 countries, but unfortunately, India is one of the only 36 countries where marital rape is still not criminalized. Even though many legal amendments have been done in criminal law for the protection of the women, the non-criminalization of marital rape in India undermines the dignity and human rights of women. The definition of rape codified in section 375 of the Indian Penal Code, IPC, includes all forms of sexual assault involving non-consensual intercourse with a woman. Non-criminalization of marital rape in India emanates from exception 2 to section 375. However, exception 2 to section 375 exempts unwilling sexual intercourse between a husband and a wife over 15 years of age from section 375's definition of rape and thus immunizes such acts from prosecution. As per current law, a wife is presumed to deliver perpetual consent to have sex with her husband after entering into marital relations. The concept of marital rape in India is the epitome of what we call an implied consent. Marriage between a man and a woman implies that both have consented to sexual intercourse and it cannot be otherwise. At present, the Delhi High Court is hearing multiple petitions challenging the exception to section 375 of the Indian Penal Code, which exempts forceful sexual intercourse by a man with his wife from the offense of rape, provided the wife is above 15 years of age. The petitioners have challenged the constitutionality of the marital rape exception on the ground that it discriminates against married women who are sexually assaulted by their husbands. And to discuss this very, very relevant topic, marital rape, a curse on Indian wives, we have a very elite, knowledgeable panelist are with us. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and he's Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma is the chairman of Gyan Deep Shiksha Bharati Senior Secondary School, Mathura. He is a leading lawyer of Western UP with more than 42 years of practice. He is regularly appearing in Supreme Court and different high courts, including Allahabad, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh, etc. He is extensively practicing constitutional, civil, and taxation matters. He is also rendering social services. He is secretary of Kans Nikandan Trust, Mathura. He is founder secretary of Civil Lawyers Forum and president thereafter. Welcome, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma on our show. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, I read the report, which clearly says that India is one of the 36 countries out of many other countries which is not having this law, which criminalize the marital rape, while 100 countries this is a criminal act. Now, already this case is going on in Delhi High Court, and the arguments are from the amicus is going on. But we would like to know your views on marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, please.
Mr. Goel, today you have chosen a very sensitive topic. This topic is sensitive legally, emotionally, and socially also. It affects the life of person, family life of the person, and the complete social setup of our society. As you have said, this matter is being heard by a Honorable Delhi High Court nowadays, wherein this exception 2 of section 375 has been challenged. The main ground of the challenge is that without consent, the physical relationship with the wife should be an offense and punishable with the punishment which is provided under the definition of rape, that is not less than 7 years. And the ground is that this breaches the right of freedom of a woman, which is a fundamental right. That is the main ground. This is correct that to some extent it is being said. Firstly, I would like to say that our fundamental rights are not absolute and they are subject to certain restrictions. Those restrictions may be by way of law or by way of social norms. Till now, legislatures have not permitted the law to enter into a bedroom of a married couple because of otherwise it may breach their another fundamental right, which is right of privacy. Now, two fundamental rights are there. The right of privacy of a married couple is also to be preserved, and right of freedom of a wife should also be given a proper weight. What I feel that this should be left to the married couple, and this bedroom behavior should be left for them to choose what they have to do. And it is further there should be expectation that both of them should respect the feelings of each other. Entering of law into the bedroom shall basically, I should say, it will ruin the institution of marriage itself. Because of this relationship of husband or wife, this is basis on the love and affection. And love and affection cannot be based on fear. This fear may be of law or any other law. In married life, both of them have a feeling to sacrifice for each other. And this sacrifice for the other spouse creates or creates a love and affection in more of the quantity. And that strengthens their married life. So this feeling of sacrifice to each other must also be kept in mind. But why I have initially said that if due to any reason, if any of the spouse is unwilling, then the feeling of that spouse must be respected by the other. But this behavior of bedroom should not be interfered by law at all. Law should not be permitted to enter into this bedroom of a married couple. If we see the fundamental right of freedom, then it is also limited. Extreme is not there. Social norms restriction is also there. And with regard to social norms, we like to say that marriage itself, it casts a duty on the married couple to cohabit and to go for the next generation. This duty is expected to be performed by both of them. During married life, both of them are having a legitimate expectation of cohabitation. This legitimate expectation cannot be said to be illegal due to any ground even in spite of without consent. But what I am saying that this consent must be respected between them. Law should not be enforced, but consent should be respected. If one is not willing, others should respect it. But law should not be permitted. Now we have to differentiate two things: physical relationship in between the in married life and outside the married life. First, I would like to say outside the married life, the physical relationship is a social and moral evil outside the married life. But it is not illegal if it is being done by two adults with their free will. Now, it is only the consent of these two persons which makes the physical relationship legal or illegal. Basis is the consent only. Now, we come to physical relationship within married life. As I have said, it is the duty of the couple to have cohabitation. So, such an act should not be criminalized at all. But feelings of each other should be respected by the others. So, when we go to other side, with regard to the fundamental rights, the willingness or unwillingness should be interpreted within the scope of the married life, and the difference, physical relationship outside the married life or inside the married life, must have been maintained. If this difference is being diminished by this interpretation which is giving nowadays, that without consent it is rape outside the married life and inside the married life, then there shall be no importance of this institution of marriage itself, and it will destroy the complete our social system, which shall not be advisable at all. I want to say one more thing. Recently, our CGI have said that our legislators are, at the time of framing of law, they are not considering the long-lasting effect of the law which where they are framed. That is correct, and that's why our CGI has said that courts are feeling difficulties in interpretation of law. The words are meaning something else, and though that meaning is being given it to interpretation, then it may destroy the social setup of our society. So that is becoming a problem for the courts to interpret the law. What I want to say, that this principle should also be made applicable for the high courts and honorable Supreme Court to interpret the law. At the time of interpretation of law, courts should also consider the long lasting effect of their interpretation. Not only by the pure fundamental right version or by the pure meaning of the words, but the long lasting effect of their interpretation on the social setup of our society. This must be kept in mind. And this is a very important aspect which our Honorable CGI has said very recently. So, my view is that this action should not be criminalized at all. Rather, we should train both of them to respect the feelings of each other. Criminalization of bedroom activities will destroy the institution of marriage itself. That's all.
Thank you very much, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, for for giving your very strong views. And according to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, this act should not be criminalized and the exception should remain like this, because he says if we will put it under the criminalization, then the marriage institution will be destroyed. There will be no difference between a physical relationship outside and inside the marriage institution. And he is of very clear view that if we will do it, if we will remove this and put it in the criminalization or make it treated as a rape, then it will destroy and it will have a very long lasting effect on our social fabric and social setup. Thank you very much, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Definitely when I will come back, I am going to ask some questions which will be not suitable what you are saying, but definitely because our purpose is to create awareness and to bring to the knowledge of the public at large, and let the people of the country should decide what is right and what is wrong. After all, they are more intelligent than many of us. So thank you very much, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she's Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Advocate Anita Mahapatra is an eminent lawyer and partner in Attorney Alliance law firm based out in Delhi, having more than 24 years of working in various industries and fields, out of which 12 years in the legal field. Being a daughter of an army officer, she had an opportunity to her schooling in various states of India. She was active NCC cadet and marched on Rajpath in the year 1992. She was awarded silver medal in NCC. At present, she is helping most needy women who are the victims at the hands of domestic violence, sexual harassment, rape, molestation, dowry, and property issues by providing free legal services. Apart from her profession, she is active marathon runner, a fitness freak, a passionate dancer, and a theater personality. Welcome, Advocate Anita Mahapatra on our show. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, you have heard what Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma has mentioned. And he is of very, very clear view that we should not destroy the marriage institution by removing that exception which is there under 375. We would like to know your views, because you are dealing basically for the domestic violence and sexual harassment and rape, etc. cases, in which definitely you might be getting many cases where the marital rape is involved. We would like to know marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, panelists. Good morning, all the viewers who are listening to the burning topic today, marital rape. So this actually criminalization of marital rape, it has been a long outstanding debate in India. And today I got opportunity to speak on this topic. So while at a macro level and at the face of it, social media users bat for the same, it is important to understand the other side and ground realities before pushing for any law which may seem popular and driven by emotions. So, okay, let me start with a little, background of this topic, how this topic came to limelight. Today, everybody is talking on this, and senior counsels are arguing since January 7. It's still pending, and arguments are being heard in Delhi High Court, and judgment yet to be passed. So, why this has come up? In 2017, Delhi High Court had agreed to examine the issue raised in PIL, which was filed by Karuna Nandi, Advocate Karuna Nandi, who represented RIT Foundation and All India Democratic Women's Association, who sought striking down the exception in their Indian Penal Code that does not consider sexual intercourse with a wife as a rape, provided not less than the age of that wife should not be less than 15 years of age. Now let's understand what is exception in section 375, that is definition of rape. When rape is defined in 375, there are a lot of descriptions has been mentioned, like with her will, without her consent, with her consent, and blah, blah, blah. Many 7 descriptions are there. So exception 2 says sexual intercourse or sexual acts by a man with his own wife is not rape, provided age of wife is not under 15 years of age. So now this petition was seeking for setting aside of this exception in the rape law that protects husband, stating that it violates the right to equality, freedom, and to live life with dignity provided under Constitution. Now at that time, what Delhi government argued, they said that quashing this exception would lead to creation of an offense, which is a legislative job, and courts cannot create or legislate an offense. And what central government said, they also opposed this petition, stating that marital rape cannot be made a criminal offense as it would become a phenomena which may destabilize the institution of marriage and an easy tool for harassing the husbands. Now what happened? One NGO, they as an intervener represented this petition. They opposed this PIL, right, stating that married women have been given adequate protection under the law against sexual violence by their husbands. Now at that time, 2 division bench were there. One was Chief Justice Geeta Mittal and other was Justice C. Harishankar. So they posed various questions to these NGO who were representing as an intervener. So they asked whether their stand was that a husband has a right to perpetrate sexual offense on his wife, and could he force sex on his spouse? To this, these guys said in the negative way and said there were existing provisions including domestic violence law, harassment to married women, unnatural sex, which provide adequate protection to a wife against sexual violence committed by the husband. However, they strongly also argued that no such protection is given to husbands as laws in India. They are gender specific and not gender neutral, unlike in most parts of the world. Now, these arguments remain inconclusive since July 2018, as that time active Justice Geeta Mittal, she got elevated and transferred, and then the new bench did not sit, and then followed COVID pandemic. So now again, this bench has two judges, Justice Rajiv Shekdhar and Justice C. Harishankar. They are hearing this matter since January 7, 2022. Now they are hearing this petition challenging exception 2 in IPC, section 375, that protects men who have forced non-consensual intercourse with their wives for criminal prosecution under IPC section 375. Now, this exception in law was carved out to favor the conjugal rights of the husband and is based on a doctrine which believes a woman on marriage grants an irrevocable sexual consent to her husband. The courts are duty bound to protect citizens' fundamental rights. Well, court cannot sit in anticipation that legislature, which has enacted on various occasions modified the law, will take care of the law in future also. Though Delhi High Court during this hearing said that there can be no compromise about the fact that a woman has a right to sexual autonomy and right to say no, but again added that it would require an incisive approach to decide whether even a single instance of unwilling sex by a husband with his wife can be termed rape, which will then entail an imprisonment of 10 years. So HC has rightly said that there can be no compromise about the fact that a woman has right to sexual autonomy, bodily integrity, and right to say no. The husband has no business to compel her to a sexual relationship if she's not willing. Now, see, is status of marriage sufficient to warrant denying a wife the ability to prosecute her husband of rape? Tell me, if the object was saving the institution of marriage, then wife would not have been able to prosecute her husband for anything. If there is a possibility of misuse of provision, there can be misuse of section 376, 498A, domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. Lot many sections are there. It can be misused. But is that a ground to deny to even that one wife who has been violated? It's time law tells the wife, मर्जी है आपकी, वर है आपका, आप पति परमेश्वर वाली बात नहीं. In case the court decides to strike off the exception, he will come up with the suggestions to prevent the possible misuse of criminalizing marital rape. Of course, it will come up with the solution. Now, see, according to NCRB, National Crime Records Bureau, 70% of women in India are facing domestic violence. In ancient times, woman was considered as property of husband or father. After marriage, she is considered as sexual property of husband. Before marriage, a property of father. And if they get raped, that means their property has been vandalized. So rape was considered as rape against woman, not against her husband, as she was her sexual property. Now see, Babylonia in 1900 BCE, a man was punishable by death if he intercourse with anyone's wife or anyone's daughter, because it was believed that wife or daughter is someone's property. Similarly, long time back, also rape was considered a property crime. That's why it was believed that husband can't rape a wife, as wife is his property and he can do anything with her. Even 17th and 18th century, when British Empire was established, then laws were made that rape is crime against women. This law was introduced only because rape violates sexual purity of a woman. And after marriage, husband cannot violate sexual purity of a wife. During that time, questions were asked about purity of a woman. From British era only, there have been a very conservative thought that woman is recognized by her husband only because they are their property. So this is what we call it doctrine of coverture. Now see, in IPC, gang rape, date rape, campus rape, all kind of rape is defined in IPC except rape by husband. Why? Now see, while decriminalizing adultery by Supreme Court of India in 2018. What that means? That means that husband and wife were one person after marriage, right? So see, according to me, legal exception which protects marital rape is violative of Article 14 and also violates a married woman's right to dignity, liberty, and personal and sexual autonomy. Criminalized marital rape is not a woman's right, but a human right. If a sex worker can raise issue for rape, why not a wife? Marriage is not a lifetime consent. About 150 countries have criminalized marital rape. Only 36 countries haven't yet. India is one of 36 countries. Try to understand. It's not a man-woman debate. It's simply principle of consent, yes or no. And that consent is same for everyone, wife or anyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra. I can understand the emotions because it's a very, very emotional and very sensitive topic. And the way you have presented and the way Advocate Anita has put it, she says this is not a crime against women, it's a human crime, human. And when she says why, when everywhere in other countries, and she has corrected me that I was, as per my research, is 100, but now she says 150 countries has criminalized this marital rape. Then why India is not allowing this? So she is of very, very strong views. According to her, this marital rape should be considered as a criminal act, and the exception of 2 has to go. Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra, for giving your views. And that is the beauty of our media conference, that we want that free and without fear, their expert views should come without any hindrance, without any tutu meme. We want public should understand what are the reality, what are the expert views. Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Advocate Avishi Dhaka. Advocate Avishi Dhaka is BA LLB Honors LLM. She is advocate in Supreme Court, New Delhi. She is a result-oriented professional with excellence in implementing training mechanism to deliver desired output, seeking assignments in learning and development with an organization of high repute. Her areas of expertise are ability to balance priorities and coordinate work effectively, leadership skills, excellent analytical skills, and aptitude for figures, ability to stay calm under pressure, can analyze large amounts of information, good written and spoken communication skills, client care skills, sound judgment, organized and efficient, good project management and team building skills. She was trained at Gurugram Cyber Crime Cell under Commissioner of Gurugram Police and Mr. Rakshit Tandon, cyber security expert, and dealt with police investigation in cyber crime cases, e-commerce crimes, social media crimes, website crimes, mobile crimes, email crimes, etc. Welcome, Advocate Avishi Dhaka, on our show. Advocate Avishi Dhaka, you have heard 2 views, one of Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma and another was of Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Both are of different views. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma very clearly says that if this exception will go, it will ruin the marriage, institution of marriage and the piety of institution of marriage. While Advocate Anita Mahapatra is very, very clear and very strongly says that this exception should go because it's a inhuman and it's a crime, because earlier it was the girl or the lady was supposed to be treated as the property. Now she is no more. She is an individual as a man, all rights what man is enjoying. Now, we would like to know your views on marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Advocate Avishi Dhaka, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning and good morning to all my fellow panelists. Today, I heard the views, so that is why a lot has been discussed. What is marital rape? I will not discuss that, but I want to say that I am in favor of a law which will criminalize this marital rape, and I do not believe in being gender specific. Although women are vulnerable, and India is a big country with a lot of cultures and a lot of variety. So we cannot say the way we are empowered in big cities, we are empowered in all parts of India. So there's a big parity for us to reach. So we need a law, which is a marital rape law. To I know that it will destabilize the marital life of people or the society, but there has to be a law in protection of that, because this is not the first time we are discussing. It will also solve a need. When we see, because we are all lawyers, and we also know that people take divorce. There are many ways that people nowadays are having divorce openly. When you take divorce, there are grounds of divorce, and for that we say that there are many grounds that says that is incompatibility, the main issue, or they are not able to live, or the boy is not able to maintain the wife for a long time, and now the priorities have changed. Maybe uh, they don't want to live in the same city or in the same country, or and the main reason is sexual satisfaction, or and the last one is the ability to procreate, maybe. So when we see that these kind of aspects, so they become the ground of divorce. If you don't want to do this, or you do not want to tolerate this, get out. But so far you have used the body of the female or the male, you cannot tell them to just get out from their life and be on their own. Is this not a fracture in the societal system? Are we doing it as a just feature? Because then you are forced to take this criminalized act in a legal manner, which has a legal protection to it, that if, even if you marry for the second time, there is no guarantee that this thing will not happen. So as a solution to it, but what if the law is made, rape marital law is made, so then the problem would be the burden of proof. How will the wife prove that he had you know raped that time, and his feelings were not the same? They were he was in a mood of rape, or how you want to define that he was abusing his authority, confidence, love, and maybe how are you going to prove that you were not submissive at that time? So each time you get intimate, you are not going to get into agreement that for on this day here, for this time we are getting romantic and we will now make love to each other with consent. So there cannot be defined thing for consent so properly, and there won't be witnesses to support that, because it is a bedroom behavior. So that might be challenging, but where people have a ground of divorce, in most of the cases, rare of the rarest, that they were abusing, and because of that their body had to suffer. They suffered mentally, they suffered so many loss of life and personal liberty, freedom, and so on. But there has to be a law. Only then will the people understand, and some kind of we are talking about law, we should talk about life, how to live life with a spouse. That should be a matter of subject, or some kind of a training, psychological training, which should be given and taught at the college level, because at that time you are over 18 and quite mature enough that you might be marrying soon. So there has to be a mandatory subject for everyone, how to behave with your spouse, be you are straight, gay, lesbian, or whatever. But there has to be something that how should you behave with your partner, whether you marry or you don't, how to live with each other, how should you respect privacy and personal space of that person, and how should you treat each other's body, how do you get intimate, and so other things. No, just sex education at school level is not enough, which is not even done properly in most of the cases. So that kind of behavior is to be taught, at least like a mock or a drill. It is a mandatory thing. So how should we behave within our family? It is done in many Asian countries, so we should also have it. And for that, about marital rape and the law, yes, it needs criminalization. And because there's a change in the society, suppose today I'm not married, but I will need someone that in future, if I marry someone and this kind of thing happens, of course the person needs some legal protection against this, so that you do not become a commodity, or when people are equal, whether they're illiterate or literate, or they marry with whatever status, the other person doesn't get you to become their commodity or property, registered property. So because you will have some rights, which we say that it is a matter of fundamental right, and fundamental right cannot behave with privacy or get but it is not absolute. It is happening, the change is happening. If it can be for Aadhaar, then why not for marital rape? So this is my stand for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Dhaka. And Advocate Avishi Dhaka has also supported that the criminalization should be allowed and the exception should go. And she says it's our fundamental right of a lady or woman, and it should not be allowed by misused, even if he's a husband, although she said it should be a gender neutral law for both, but and everyone has to respect each other. Although she also mentioned that it's a burden of proof is very, very difficult, how to prove it, because it's inside the bedroom and no witnesses are there. But still she says that it has to be done and it has to, exception should go. Thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Dhaka, for giving your views. And you have also supported. So right now, 2 views are in support for exception to go, and only 1 male view is for that it should remain. Now my question goes to Advocate Ramesh Sharma, because other panelists have not yet joined there. One of the panelists is pleading in this particular case only. He says that he will be joining after some time. So if he will join, we will go to him once he will be there. Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, my question to you is, does a woman lose the right to her own body after marriage?
Not at all.
Then,
not at all. I'm coming. Not at all. That's why I have already said that feelings of the wife must be respected by the husband, not by force of law, but by the emotions of the husband. And Avshi has rightly said that for that purpose, a proper education must be given to the children.
To whom?
To the children who are going to marry very soon, as Avshi has said. She is very right on the point.
No, but
not by force of law, but by way of respect to each other.
But Advocate Sharma, if let's take a scenario which is happening. After all, we are 140 crores, and people emphasize that we are 140 crores. Always they say, yesterday in my discussion about the vaccine, they were all panelists were saying we are 140 crores. So today I'm saying, yes, we are 140 crores. And you cannot expect everyone to follow your moralities and that respect. If take a scenario and he's not respecting, what is the remedy for it? Advocate Sharma, is there any meter to gauge?
Yeah, Mr. Goel. Then what shall be the result? As I have referred the session of CGI, that the result said be the case of rape shall be initiated against the husband. It will go for years, and even if the husband is paralyzed, not for then 7 or 10 years, whatever is there, the married life or the life of the wife is ruined totally. So she is the ultimate sufferer of that offense.
But it means what Advocate Rita has mentioned very clearly, it means even for domestic violence,
every High Court and Supreme Court has specifically said that the provisions of domestic violence and dowry provisions are being mostly misused by the ladies. Every High Court and Supreme Court have said. And that was they have liberalized the provisions of bail for family members, not for the husband, but for all the family members, because of the misuse of the provision. Okay. And there are all the chances of the misuse of this provision also.
Okay, so you agree one thing, that woman is not losing her right on her body, but
definitely she is having.
I mean, after marriage, but she is having no right to say no to her husband if he is not in a good position. We have seen him in the movies how the husband is coming.
Whatever she is having a right to say no, and the husband should respect her no, but not by force of law.
But if he is not having any sense, if he is totally drunk and then he wants to force, at that time, how will he respect? He is not knowing. Anyway, thank you very much, Advocate Sharma.
Anyway.
I will come back to you
Okay,
because
okay.
right now Advocate Gagan Gandhi has joined us. So I would like to invite and introduce Advocate Gagan Gandhi. Advocate Gagan Gandhi is the managing partner of Niti Nyaya Law Offices, New Delhi. After doing his graduation in mathematics and statistics from St. Stephen's College, he completed his management from Faculty of Management Studies, FMS, University of Delhi. He worked in American Express Private Limited in their Risk and Information Department before he decided to do law from Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. He has research paper on Social and Environmental Disclosure Index, SEDI. He deals with cases of check, dishonor, probate, succession, partition and possession, recovery suits, commercial suits, service matters, writ petition, civil and criminal, apart from pro bono litigation. He has worked extensively on Right to Information Act, relying on the same for seeking replies as an evidence and for inputs in the policy making. Welcome, Advocate Gagan Gandhi. And Advocate Gagan Gandhi also mentioned to me that he is going to plead in this particular case, which is right now going on in Delhi High Court. Advocate Gagan Gandhi, before you join the view, I will just tell Advocate Ramesh Sharma is of very, very strong view that this exception 2 of 375 should not be removed because he feels that then there will be no difference between the outside physical relationship and inside the marriage institution physical relationship, and it will ruin the marriage institution. While Advocate Mahapatra as well as Advocate Avishi Dhaka of very, very strong views that this exception should go. Now, we would like to know your views on marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Advocate Gagan Gandhi, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Goel, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to voice my opinion on this very controversial topic, I would say. And I was listening to Advocate Ramesh on his views on this. And so whenever it comes to marriage, I do not know why it becomes man versus woman. Why it is not man and woman? Because marriage is an institution and there is a premium attached to that institution. So, and that premium should not be taken away by any law whatsoever. So, and as Advocate Ramesh was saying, that it should not be by force of law. It should actually, the law is as good as its practitioners. So if people are not willing to accept any law, your law is bad actually. Your law is bound to fail eventually. And if we look at 498A, its inception, and the sequence of events. So it was enacted in 1983 because of rise in dowry death cases. And today we are standing in 2021 after around 35 years of the enactment of that particular law. So which was particularly enacted to protect the wives. So it is a special class of legislation for the particular class of people to give them special protection in the backdrop of the dowry deaths which were taking place. Now, judgment after judgment, law commission report after law commission report, it has been observed by statistics that the effectiveness of that particular provision and how that provision has been used over the time. So you will realize, you'll come to know that it has done more harm than good. Now, I'm not saying that law is bad. No law is bad. With due respect to everybody, every citizen of this country has a right to seek protection. But that protection should be legitimate, should be justified. Now comes the year 2013. So this year is actually a turning point in the history of 498A. Why it is turning point? Because of Arnesh Kumar versus State of Bihar. So what it did, it stopped the automatic arrest first. Secondly, it laid down criteria for arrest. Third, it removed the family members from arrest. Now, somebody's family is staying in Canada. Can you imagine that all will be also be involved in the cruelty inflicted upon the woman? So, but yes, I am not saying that they should not be given protection. They should be given protection. the law agencies, the judiciary must came to the aid of everybody. But does that mean that men do not have a right to live a dignified life? Does that mean that no matter what, men are above cruelty, that they can never be subjected to cruelty, or they can never be victim of cruelty? Answer is no. But if you look at IPC, do you find any single provision? The answer is no. Then what? Are we talking about family as a unit? Or are we creating silos in the family itself? Are we moving in that direction? The answer is no. Now comes to the exception, which has been carved out in 375. So this is a legitimate this is a legitimate differentiation actually which has done. So this differentiation is between marriage and not marriage. So people who choose not to get married, they incur risk of inviting 375 also. But people who choose to get married, they have a greater responsibility. So with greater responsibility comes greater privilege. So I would call it a privilege which has been given actually for choosing this institution, for carrying the family forward, which has not been given to people who are living outside marriage as husband and wife in a live-in relationship. Now, think from the perspective of choosing two options. Now, if I am given an option of going to a live-in relationship as compared to getting into an institution called marriage. So if I see that I am going to have the same consequences, why would I choose a marital relationship? I would say, okay, it is easy for me to enter into live-in relationship and it's easy for me to exit. The consequences are going to be remain same. I have to take care of the maintenance. I will be penalized for the cruelty. Domestic Violence Act also will be inflicted upon me. And so it is endless. I will be responsible for the children born out of that relationship. So where is that premium, that incentive actually given to that institution? So we have to maintain the sacrament, that sacrosancy of that relationship. And when we talk about removing the exception, we always come out with the comparison between rest of the world. So we are telling that 150 countries are signatory to this. Hence, India should also become signatory to it. Now, the concept of marriage in India is totally different. It's totally different from the Western world. So here, if you look at Manusmriti, there was no concept of divorce. So if you are married, you have married for eternal. Yes, but the concept of divorce came into being because you can't live in a bad marriage, the marriage which is already dead. So that was the purpose of bringing divorce. But the objective remains the same. The objective is that once you are married forever. And hence, if we remove that exception, so what is going to happen is, will it not open the floodgates for another round of litigations, which was being taken care in 2013? So this petition, which is being argued in the Honorable High Court, was filed in the year 2015. So look at the chain of events. Why it happened in 2015 only? Why it was not considered so grave before 2013? Because Arnesh Kumar was taking care of that. 498A was taking care of that. And suddenly we find that 498 has failed its objective. And there is a recent trend of invoking 377 also in marriages. Now imagine the plight. Now, once this 375 exception is also removed and 377 is also there, then what will be the fate of that marriage? But yes, so if the husband has actually stooped to such an extent that he has to force himself upon his wife, then that is not a marriage. Then that marriage ceases to exist actually. So for that, so there is no point taking forward that marriage actually. But now comes the counter question, that if that has happened, how will I exercise my rights actually against the husband who has done that? The answer is, there are enough checks and balances. But as Advocate Ramesh was saying, criminal prosecution in a family, in an institution called marriage, will that do justice, or will that do injustice actually? Will it be injustice to the children? born out of the wedlock, will it be injustice to the wife also for prolonged criminal prosecution? The answer is yes. But yes, I'm not saying that the woman does not have the right to protect themselves. They do not have the right to live with dignity. The answer is yes. They have every right. And the no in marriage and anywhere else also, no means no actually.
So, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, I just want to know one thing from you very clearly: whether you are, when you are impleading yourself, you are going to oppose this exception to be removed, or you are in favor to exception to be removed?
I am always, so if I differentiate between two classes of women, those who are married and those who are not married, I think they are same. Woman is a woman. They need respect. They need dignified life. But what I am worried as a practitioner of law is the outburst, the effectiveness of that particular provision.
So you want to that this should remain like this? What exception is there? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi. Now I would like to invite one more guest, although she is not a legal luminary, but she is a medical luminary, I must say.
Mr. Lal, I will take your leave to leave this act.
Okay, no issues. So if you are leaving, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, my one question answer you can give to me, which was basically sent by one of our very regular viewer, as well as he has participated in our this thing, and he has sent it, although it is in Hindi. He is Mr. Paramatma Nand Pandey. He is the farmer and founder president of Utho Jago Foundation, Balia. He has given one chopai from Ramcharitmanas. Gautam Nari Shrap Vash Upal Deh Dhari Dheer Charan Kamal Raj Chahati Krapa Karhu Raghubir. And it means that isme they have shown the इसमें स्त्री की विवशता दिखाई गई है, क्योंकि उसकी देह शरीर को ही समाज महत्व देता है. Our society always give importance to the physical body of the lady, not her conscious, not her soul. And that's why the Vishwamitra at that time urged Lord Ram कि आप उनका उद्धार करो, नारियों का उद्धार करो. So when and that's why, if you remember, if you recall, that there was a stone which Ram Chandji touched and she has become the lady. So my question to you is, when at that time it was started, when they considered that the lady should not be treated only for a physical, for the body thing, their soul should be also given importance. Why now we are, or you, or Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, or many consider still a object, a lady as an object, not as a human being? Advocate Gagan Gandhi, please.
Yeah, so objectifying women and admiring her because of that thing only will be misplaced. So she's generator. She is responsible for giving birth. So she has special natural, I would say, instinct, and objectifying her only for this purpose or for the purpose of sexual activity would be actually demeaning the entire concept of marriage. So that is one aspect of marriage. That is not the entire aspect of marriage. So marriage does not give you only that dimension of life. That's a very important dimension of life that helps you propel life, that helps you in progeny, and that is. But if that without companionship, so we are talking about soul, if that without companionship, then it is not going to last very long actually.
Okay. Thank you, Advocate Gagan Gandhi. You have to leave, otherwise I have many more questions. But thank you very much for joining and giving your opinion. Let's hope and wait for the result of what happened, what is the judgment. Although we know that this case will definitely go to the Supreme Court. Both the sides are so emotionally attached with this case, they will definitely take it. Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi. Now I would like to invite Dr. Rashmi Kundapur on our show. Dr. Rashmi Kundapur is the Additional Professor, Department of Community and Family Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad. She completed MBBS in 2001 and MD in 2006 at JJM Medical College, Devangri, Karnataka with first class. She has more than 30 presentations in various state, national and international conferences. She is the editor for IAPSM, textbook of preventive and social medicine, published in 2019 and second edition in 2021. She has given more than 32 guest lectures and trainings. She was invited speaker for 3 international conferences and 8 national conferences and workshops. In 31st National Conference of 2004, she won Young Female Scientist Award. She was awarded Young Scientist Award by Kutch in 46th Conference in Manipal by Karnataka Association of Community Health in year 2011. In 46th National Conference of 2018 IAP SM, she was awarded Presidential Appreciation Award. In 47th National Conference 2019, she was awarded with Fellowship in Preventive and Social Medicine, FIAP SM. She has completed 3 funded projects as co-investigator. She has completed 7 funded projects as principal investigator and currently 1 ongoing. She was secretary for IMA Mangalore 2019 to 2020. Welcome, Dr. Rashmi Kundapur on our show. Dr. Rashmi Kundapur, before you join, I will just tell you that Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma has given very strongly view that this should not be considered, the marital rape should not be criminalized and it should remain as it is. Advocate Anita Mahapatra says no, it should be criminalized. Advocate Avishi Dhaka also says it should be criminalized, but it should be gender neutral. And Advocate Gagan Gandhi has very clearly says it should not be criminalized, and rather he is going to implead in this ongoing case at Delhi High Court. Now, yesterday when you were, I will like to inform our panelists that yesterday Dr. Rashmi Kundapur was in our show, and when she heard about today's topic, she messaged me. She says it's a very, very important and interesting topic, and she has presented 3 papers on this. So definitely she wanted, and she was kind enough to give time to give her views. So the marital rape, a curse on Indian wives. Dr. Rashmi Kundapur, please.
Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. As I said, one of our funded project, which you said, was on domestic violence by the intimate.
Dr. Kundapur, we can't see your face.
Yeah.
Please, is it possible to switch on your video, please? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Sir, it's on. I think there is a little bit of,
Yeah.
So one of the funded project was on domestic violence on intimate partners in Karnataka. We had done a study on that, and I have, that's what I had. Then we did 3 different projects on that. One was on educated women, one was on a rural woman, and then we also compared between urban and rural women about the domestic violence. The study was on domestic violence. The major part in that was also sexual violence when we encountered the sexual rape. And I would want to just put in this, I don't just talk about nitty-gritty about all this law as such, but would want to put you all across the data what we found that is also published in the international journals and national journals of medical journals, because domestic violence is a major medical problem which we face in different part of women mental ability. Could be in pregnancy or in the late part. And we have also seen the mortality in domestic violence. So that is the reason we medical people are interested in this marital rape or could be of thing as a domestic violence. And we could find that all over, rural or urban, around 7% of the women in marriage are experiencing domestic violence. Of course, majority of it could be emotional violence in the educated and physical violence in the rural uneducated. But we have found around minimum of 8% and maximum of 6% of women in marriage had marital rape. Sexual violence was so very common and marital rape was very common. And this was found even in places like Bangalore, which was highly educated. And you could see also the educated ones were facing it as in early parts of marriage and in the late part of marriage. They have seen that marital rape is very common in the early part of marriage and in the late part. In mid part they may not, but still have in the late of marriage, when they do not have interest in the sex which has been forced on them or during recently. And this was commonly seen, and majority of the time, sexual violence was to teach the woman a lesson. And this was the reason given to them. What the reason for this sexual violence? Gave them some 20 reasons. What reason? Majority of them, that is around 82% of them, selected teaching the women as was they used to use as sexual violence in marriage as a lesson to them. So without marriage, within marriage is a whole concept. The majority of them
Dr. Kundapur, your voice is, Dr. Kundapur, can you hear me? Your voice is not clear. I think we would like to hear. See, I think some other devices are connected. Can you just see your network should be proper so that we can hear you? Your voice is not that clear. You are talking very, very this thing which we require our viewers to hear. Yes. If other devices are connected, please disconnect or change the network, because we want to hear what you are saying is very, very important. Yes, now please try if we see that if it is improved.
Sir, actually, today was that, and I am in the OP. I'm trying to connect to the Wi-Fi is not working, and I'm on the mobile network.
Yeah, please.
So I think it's okay. I'm back on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, if you can join after 2 minutes after coming on the mobile. Is it? Yeah, please do that. Okay, thank you very much. Now we will hear her views also. But now my question goes to Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, my question to you is very, very clear. What is going to happen, which the reservation raised by Advocate Sharma as well as Advocate Gagan Gandhi? What about the misuse? Because we have seen the domestic violence, we have seen the 498A, how it was misused. And as Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma says, that high courts and Supreme Courts says that it was misused more than the use. When this marital rape will come, because it's in the bedroom, no proofs, no witnesses are there. So tomorrow, if any lady would like to put any allegation and she would like to leave the married life or the marriage institution, she has just to file a case against the husband about the marital rape. It may take time, no problem, but she will get the money because the husband knows that there is no proof and it's very, very difficult to prove his innocence also. So what you say about that, Advocate Anita Mahapatra?
Actually, the onus will always remain on the person who puts the allegation. So, as you said, it's a bedroom incident. How can a woman prove that she has been raped? Of course, a man also cannot prove that he is innocent. So, these laws has been led time and again, like 498A has, when it has been misused, the new law has come up and new regulations and new judgment and guidelines has come up that they cannot prosecute all the members of the family apart from her husband. Similarly, same thing can come up, some new guidelines, some new judgment will come up if this marital rape is being misused. Because, you know, respect is one of the foundation stones upon which the institution of marriage is built. And the wedlock evokes the implied value of respecting the choices individually and decision of the spouse. The husband and wife must ensure that the way they accept each other's approval, they must also agree with their disagreement and understand that no is a clear and strong denial. So I don't think whenever some misused will happen, law, there will be definitely some legislature or constitution or judicial guidelines or some judgment will definitely come up to stop this misuse of this law, marital rape.
Okay. Thank you, Advocate Anita Mahapatra.
And your, sir, I just want to add one thing. It's a vital that our legislatures pay instant attention to the realities of sexual abuse. Actually, the protection of institution of marriage cannot be valid defense to contravene the fundamental rights of a woman to live with dignity and bodily integrity, sir.
Okay. Advocate Avishi Dhaka, now before doctor will join, my question to you is, majority of countries like 150 are adopting this thing. And we know very well that Indians are very habitual and always in number one. We are Olympic champions in misusing the laws more than any other country. But when we are talking about legislature or the judiciary, after all, we as a human being, as a citizen of the country, and you all advocates, have you ever decided or have you thought over it, in case if you want to put in this, the exception should go, what are the guidelines and what should be the you can say the changes to be made so that it can give the legality property, that so that the women who is real sufferer should get the justice, as well as it should not be misused. Because the problem which both our advocate, male advocate, I will say, because I know that male chauvinism is always there, male advocates have pleaded very clearly it is going to be misused. So they want to play as a victim card. But whether you have anything in your mind, what is the how to safeguard this misuse so that it can be made a law. Advocate Avishi Dhaka, please.
There are no formal parameters to stop the misuse of the law. There's no straitjacket formula for knowing who the real victim is, or we can only know it when the cause of action arose, or where the problem has come from. But now again, it is a very dicey thing that you became physically intimate, you are spouse anytime, and the last time or last time was in a good with consent, and this time it was without consent. So it is a very confusing and a dicey thing for the judges to handle. It will be a real challenge for the judges, as judges are also human, both male and female, and they will also differ in the view mostly. So how to book them? Till now we are booking them in 377, as we only have this law to protect ourselves, and 498A, because the problem is that you say that you cannot book the other family person of the husband. But the problem is when the case of DV is filed, the husband doesn't appear in the court for long. So to summon him, or and to until and unless you declare him for that he's running away from the case for 82 CRPC and something like absconder, until then, or you attach their property, and you have to file a case against and book other people of his family, so they do not come in the court. And the problem now again, the real victim is again suffering a million more times. It is multiplied, her victimization. So that is also a problem. Till now we have not found any proper solution to that problem. So how are we going to get a proper parameter to say who is a real victim and who is acting like a victim? So that is why I said it has to be a gender neutral, because till now we do not have any laws for the protection of males, and rape for males or children, they also suffer a lot when they are children, and when emotionally they suffer in marriages, as well as when they get into relationships, and they are robbed for their money. They are seen as money makers, and and because there's a blind protection to the women. But being a wife, you cannot be termed as a property, and there has to be a legal protection to it, because when there is a legal protection, you learn to respect the rights of the person. You will automatically respect the right of the person, and you will know when it is submissive, when it is authority, when it is confidence, when it is consent. People understand each and everything, and it is not just about respecting the person's feeling. What if you do not? And that is why the question has come up, when the people are not respecting each other's feelings and emotions. That is why the need of the law has come up. So there has to be a proper law.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Avishi. Although there are lots of things to be discussed, but I can see Dr. Kundapur, are you there? Switch on your video, please, if you are there.
Sir, I can work is that my video may not give good audio, at least to hear. My network is not that great. I tried in other systems, so it's not very great.
Okay, so what we will do, Advocate Kundapur, we will take you. your views sometime else, because although we want your views very strongly here, but
Yes.
because it's being a live telecast, so sorry, we could not take your views. But only one thing you can answer: you want this law to be, you means it should be criminalized for a marital rape, or it should be what is going on? Just answer which one you want.
No, I think it is criminalized so that sex is not considered as an open consent for marriage.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Kundapur. Now my question goes to Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Why Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma? There are three women in our conference today, and all of three have given very, very clear views that it should be criminalized. You and Advocate Gagan Gandhi, who both male, wanted that it should not be criminalized, because one reason is definitely there is a fear about which you can see, being you are dealing so many divorce cases, etc., family cases. You know that many false cases have been filed, people are filing, but after all 150 countries has agreed. If they have this law, why India is lacking? And as far as education, once the law will come, definitely whatsoever the shortcomings, as our earlier panelists have mentioned, that it will be rectified again and again, but not to give that dignity, because what you are saying is respect. There is no meter, it's all emotional when we are talking of physical thing. So my question to you again, Advocate Sharma, is why we are afraid, why those, because one side you say marriage institution is a very pious institution, it's on faith. When it is on faith, why you presume that it will be misused by the wife always? Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma, please.
Yeah, Mr. Goel, much has been said about the 150 countries who have criminalized this marital rape. I would like to say that in our social setup, the institution of marriage is very strong. This institution itself is having so many norms which are being followed by the persons. The social
Advocate
setup
Ramesh
of
Kumar Sharma, Advocate Ramesh Kumar
please,
Sharma,
please, I'm coming. I'm coming.
no,
to
I will just add one thing. You are saying our marriage institution is very strong. No, it is not strong. We are based on dowry. We are there where we burned our wife.
These are the evils which have been created outside the institution of marriage, not in the institution of the marriage itself. They have been created by the time which is outside the marriage, and
Okay.
they have been operated that way. Anyway.
Please go ahead. But
the social setup of all those countries may be of different type. So only because of all those countries have make it criminalize the marital rape, we should do so. This should not be proper at all. What I want to say, and you have also said, that two males are at a different line and three women are at different line. This should not be looked like that. What I want to say, that criminalization of marital rape will affect much more the women, much more than the men. It will more negatively affect the women. The weapon is there in the hands of the women, may not be misused. I am saying it is properly being used, left the misuse. Then what will happen? Let there be a divorce on that ground. Let there be a punishment of rape for the husband for 7 years, 10 years, whatever be the whole life of the woman is destroyed thereafter. And she shall be ultimately and much more sufferer in that case. Whatever quantity she suffered today, after criminalization of marital rape, she shall be much more sufferer at that time.
Okay.
So I am saying it in the interest of the woman.
Okay.
It should not be criminalized.
Okay. Advocate Anita Mahapatra, what Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma is saying is, why you want to criminalize it? You have you can go for the divorce. For the domestic violence, you already have law. You can apply for a domestic violence and go for a divorce. That is a Kerala High Court has also given last year the judgment very clearly. So instead of criminalizing or taking the exception, you can apply for domestic violence and go for the divorce instead of criminalize or penalize or making the husband arrested for the rape. What do you say about this, Advocate Anita? Yes, please.
See, rape by husband is more brutal than rape by a stranger. And its ignorance is a serious breach of a person's fundamental right to life and personal liberty. If you are saying that it can be raised in domestic violence, it is being raised. Sexual assault is also one of the ingredients or one of the criteria in domestic violence, also in 498A. But still, there is a special provision. There should be a special provision in IPC, and this exception to should be repealed, according to me. Then only fair justice will be given to married women.
Okay. Thank you, Advocate Anita. Advocate Avishi, you said that today someone have a relationship, a physical relationship, the husband wife, and after 1 week again a physical relationship, and this very difficult when earlier you have. My point is, don't you think the afterthought, after you have given a consent, you means the woman has given consent, have a physical relationship with her husband, afterthought, with some peer guidance or the parents guidance of the from Micah, and she filed a case. Don't you think it's going to be disaster? Or otherwise, wife will keep husband on the toes of her sandal and say, if you will not do, I am going to file this case, because there is no proof. Domestic violence and other cases, dowry cases, you have to prove, because there are violence is used. So, but here there is no violence. It's something very intimate, and it's inside your bedroom, one's bedroom. So my question to you is, chances of misuse are far more than the chances of use. Then why you are insisting for this, Advocate Avishi?
So we are talking in casual manner, but there are people who are victims. Suppose a victim has to prove the marital rape. How is she going to prove it? By the medical or by some behavior changes? How is she going to prove it? It is a very difficult thing for her to prove. But it is a barbaric thing for a person, because the person is going to suffer mentally. The person cannot leave him, because now she's married and she has nowhere to go. At least there should be a law where she can book him properly, that listen, this is where you are, abusing your confidence, the marital structure of our family, and it is for the betterment for their children, because they must be watching that father comes and he's doing all these things, or threatening for all such things. If you do not come with me, or do not do whatever I say, then I'm going to find some other wife. So there has to be a proper and a codified law, at least for which may imprison the person for 7 to 10 years, because it is the need. People are vulnerable. Not everyone is sitting and you do not know when the time may change. So when the person may change. So depending on that, there has to be a proper law. And because there are not proper law, that is why the need arose, because people are not respecting each other's right, and not respecting emotions apart from the body. That is why the need arose for such a law. And
Okay.
that is why the other countries have made it official as a statutory law. And
Okay.
we are becoming a global citizen now. We are not just Indian, we are
Yes.
netizens, and we are globally going for education. We are living with each other.
Okay.
We are
Okay. Okay.
marrying each other. So
Yes. Yes.
there has to be a law.
Okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Daka, for giving your views. So, viewers, you have seen today. Today's topic is very, very sensitive, but it is connected with whom? Not with the politicians, not with the judiciary, not with the advocates. It's connected with the civil society, me and you, all. This is our responsibility. Why today the ladies or the women of the country are crying? Why they are asking for this marital rape to be treated as under the criminalization? Because of the lack of our civility in ourselves. So whose fault is this? After all, we also have our own daughters. We also have our sisters. We also have seen what our mothers have seen. Why? One side, we pray goddess We consider them as a goddess. And the other side, we treat them like this. After all, law is not everywhere. Law cannot do everything, but at least we can do. Till the time Honorable High Court or Delhi will give judgment, or the Honorable Supreme Court will give the judgment, at least all of us can change ourselves. We must educate the boys not to mistreat the girls, and in future they should give the respect to the wife more than anyone else. After all, a wife is coming from other family to your family, and if she's coming, a daughter-in-law is coming to your family, you must treat them as your own daughter. If you will start treating them as your own daughter, then definitely your son will also treat them as their own. And then only this problem can be sorted out. Definitely we'll wait for the judgment. But till that time, I appeal to all the civil society that please change your mindset up. One side we said we want to be global leader. 150 countries have already signed, and we are not signing. Why? How we can say we are going to be Vishguru? We cannot be a Vishguru if we cannot respect our women folk in our country. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, as well as shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you every day new topic in Media Conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow, Media Conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. The topic is Quad, QUAD, importance for India. As you might be knowing, there is an alliance made by the America, Japan, Australia, and India to face the power which is increasing of China, and that is called Quad. So we are going to discuss the very, very important topic, Quad, importance for India, and my panelists are Dr. C.V. Anand Bose, IAS, One-Man Expert Commission on Labour, Government of India, Ms. Vinita Hariharan, Public Policy Advisor, Government of India, Wing Commander G. Satyan, retired from Indian Air Force. So please tune in tomorrow for Media Conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma. Thank you very much, Advocate Anita Mahapatra. Thank you very much, Advocate Avishi Dhaka. And thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, as well as Dr. Rashmi Kundapur. I am sure today's topic, very, very sensitive and very emotional, but very, very important. And all the viewers, thank you very much for watching our show. Please, if you have liked the topic, if you have liked what our speakers have said, at least try to implement those things in your life. Then tomorrow we will not like to discuss this point again. If the things will changed, then no one will go and knock the door of law for the marital rape or domestic violence or any other things which is going to harm the dignity of the women folk in India. Thank you very much.